What if your milk carton could actually, tell you it's about to expire? Or maybe a package could instantly prove it's the real deal just with a quick tap. This isn't some far off future idea anymore. It's the world of smart packaging, and it's evolving fast. It's really changing how we interact with, well, everything we buy, from food to medicine. So today, we're doing a deep dive into the global smart packaging market. Our mission here is pretty straightforward. We want to unpack the latest market forecasts, look at the growth rates, and help you get a quick handle on the key insights. We're using the Global Smart Packaging Market Growth Forecast to 2033 report from Cognitive Market Research as our guide. We'll explore the numbers, sure, but also try to figure out what they might mean for this pretty exciting future.
And yeah, stepping back for that big picture view, the scale of the growth they're projecting is really quite something. We're starting from, what, about $18.5 billion back in 2021? And the forecast, it's set to reach nearly $42 billion by 2033. That's more than double. It works out to a compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of just over 7%.
Right.
So like you said, this isn't just some niche thing anymore. It's becoming a really significant global trend, affecting supply chains, consumer safety, convenience, lots of areas.
Okay, nearly 42 billion. That's a big number. Let's try to break that down. Where are we seeing the most, let's say, interesting activity? Maybe start with North America.
Right, North America, it's definitely a major market. It's expected to grow from around 7.4 billion in 2021 to just over 16 billion by 2033. That's a take EGR of about 6.6%. So strong growth. But what's kind of interesting is when you look within North America, the U.S. is, of course, the biggest chunk projected to hit over 12.6 billion. But its growth rate, the CAGR, is slightly lower at around 6.4%. Canada, though, is actually showing stronger growth. Its CAGR is nearly 7.8%, and Mexico's not far behind either, tracking at just over 7.1% TGR.
Huh, that is interesting. Canada outpacing the U.S. growth rate. Does that maybe suggest something about, I don't know, specific industries adopting it faster there, maybe different consumer attitudes?
That's a great question. It could be several things, maybe regulatory pushes or specific sectors like food or pharma taking it up quicker.
Yeah.
It definitely hints that the drivers aren't uniform across the region.
Okay, so Canada's a bit of a standout there. What does the picture look like in Europe then? Often a trendsetter, right?
Europe's also a very substantial market, projected to grow from roughly 5.3 billion up to over $11.6 billion. The overall key EGR is quite similar to North America, actually, just under 6.7%. But again, you see variations within Europe. France and Italy, for example, they stand out with stronger KGRs, both over 7%. France heading towards maybe 1.7 billion, Italy over 900 million. On the other hand, some of the, let's call them more mature markets like the UK, Germany, Russia, their growth is a bit more moderate, sort of in the 5 to 6% KGR range.
Okay, so established markets may be growing a bit slower.
Seems that way, but here's a really fascinating bit. The rest of Europe category. That segment is showing a really robust KGR over 8%. That suggests there's strong potential in emerging markets across Europe, or maybe just really widespread adoption happening in lots of smaller economies combined.
Over 8% for the rest of Europe. That really does catch the eye. It makes you wonder what's fueling that. Is it, like you said, smaller, maybe more agile economies jumping on board faster than, say, Germany or the UK? Perhaps less legacy infrastructure.
Could be, or maybe specific needs in those regions are driving it. It definitely warrants a closer look. Now, if we connect this to Asia Pacific, well, that's where things get really dynamic. APAC is known for rapid innovation, huge markets, and the numbers here reflect that. It really jumps out as the growth engine.
Okay, I'm ready. Hit me with the APAC numbers.
Right, so the region's market is expected to surge from about $3.5 billion to nearly $8.8 billion by 2033. And the CAGR, an impressive 8.3% on average for the region. That's the highest regional average we've discussed so far. Now, China and Japan are massive contributors, of course, both growing at around 7.8% CAGR. But India is showing phenomenal growth, over 9% CAGR, projected to reach maybe 1.4 billion.
Wow, over 9% for India.
Exactly. And Singapore and Southeast Asia aren't lagging either, both showing very strong momentum, well over 8.5% CAGR. And remember that rest of category.
Yeah.
In APAC, the rest of APAC has the highest individual growth rate we see anywhere in this report, an astounding CAGR of over 10.4%. It's projected to basically triple in size.
10.4%. Goodness, that's incredible. So across Asia Pacific, but especially in India and this diverse rest of APAC's group, what do you think is driving that kind of acceleration? Is it logistics, food safety, anti-counterfeiting maybe?
It's likely a mix of all those things, probably tailored to specific market needs. Think about complex supply chains, the need for verifiable pharmaceuticals, tracking high-value goods, plus potentially a rapidly growing middle class demanding more product information and safety assurances.
Makes sense. Okay, truly remarkable numbers from APAC. Let's shift gears a bit. What about South America? Is smart packaging taking off there too?
South America is definitely a region to keep an eye on, yes. Sales there are increasing quite substantially, from about 1.2 billion
Yep.
in 2021 up to over 3.1 billion projected for 2033. That's a strong overall CAGR for the region too, around 8.1%, so right up there with APAC in terms of growth rate. And interestingly, Argentina is showing particularly strong growth within the region, over 8.6% CAGR. That's actually outpacing Brazil's rate, although Brazil is still growing strongly at about 7.7%. Peru, Chile, they're contributing too, and the rest of South America category is also doing well, over 8.4% CAGR. So yeah, adoption is gaining serious traction across the continent.
Okay, so strong growth across the Americas, explosive growth in parts of Asia Pacific. Now, what about the Middle East and Africa? Are we seeing similar trajectories there, or are there different dynamics at play?
Yeah, that's where we see a bit of a different picture. The Middle East market, while it is growing, it shows a comparatively lower overall CAGR, just over 5.4%. It's projected to reach around 1.3 billion by 2033. Within the region, the UAE stands out a bit, with a CAGR over 6.6%. But other key countries, like Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Qatar, they're seeing more moderate growth, generally hovering around 5% or slightly below.
Okay, so bit slower pace there. And Africa.
Similar story in Africa. Generally speaking, the market is rising, expected to reach over $750 million. But the CAGR is around 5.5%. Nigeria and South Africa are the key markets mentioned, but their growth rates are also in that lower 5% range. So it really highlights these regional differences. Smart packaging is global, yes, but the pace of adoption, market maturity, maybe the key drivers, they clearly vary quite a bit.
That's a really important point. So let's try to pull this all together for you, the listener. We've seen this global market for smart packaging set to more than double by 2033, hitting almost $42 billion. That's huge. We've pinpointed some really astonishing growth, particularly in Asia Pacific India at over 9%, that rest of APAC's group over 10%, and strong momentum in South America too, especially Argentina. And even within the more established regions like North America and Europe, we found these interesting pockets of faster growth, like Canada and that rest of Europe category.
Yeah, and if you connect this to the bigger picture, these numbers, they aren't really just about the packaging itself, are they? They reflect how our supply chains are evolving, how consumers are demanding more transparency, more convenience. And it's about technology getting woven deeper into everyday physical things. The really stark differences in those growth rates, from that booming 10.4% in rest of APAC down to maybe 4 or 5% in other areas, it just underscores how differently markets adopt things, how ready they are. It makes you think about how fast this tech is really embedding itself, but at such different speeds globally.
Absolutely. Which brings us to a final thought for you to consider. As smart packaging keeps weaving itself into our lives, moving beyond just tracking or telling you if your food is fresh, what's the next frontier? Could it fundamentally change our relationship with the products we buy? Maybe even how we deal with waste, especially thinking about those regions like parts of Asia that are just rocketing ahead. What innovations might emerge there first, and how might they reshape things for everyone else? Something to mull over. Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping into something really transformative: smart packaging. Forget your basic boxes and bottles. We're exploring this, fascinating mix of high-tech, new ideas, and even sustainability. It's changing logistics, food safety, and how products actually engage with us.
Exactly. And our goal here for this deep dive is really to dig into the sources you sent over and pull out the key insights. We want to get past the buzzwords, understand what's really happening with this trend, hopefully give you that, aha moment.
Okay, let's unpack this. So what's actually pushing this market forward? It feels like it's really taking off now, becoming almost a necessity. What are the big forces at play?
Yeah, that's the key question, isn't it? One of the biggest drivers is definitely the growing demand from really sensitive areas. Think food processing, pharmaceuticals. And it's not just consumers wanting fresher stuff. It's also stricter regulations coming in, like the Drug Supply Chain Security Act in the U.S.
Oh, right, the traceability rules.
Exactly. That mandates tracking down to the individual unit for pharma. So companies have to adopt things like advanced temperature sensors, freshness indicators, real-time tracking. It's all about ensuring compliance, preventing spoilage, stopping tampering. It protects the product, sure, but also public health.
Mm-hmm. And with that need for, precision,
Mm-hmm.
how does the huge growth in e-commerce fit in? And just in industrialization in general, the amount being shipped now is just wow.
Right. It massively ramps up the need for super efficient logistics, for really detailed supply chain transparency. Brands aren't just sending boxes anymore. They're managing these incredibly complex journeys. Each package almost needs to be its own little digital guard dog.
Yeah, digital guard dog, I like that.
Yeah. So smart packaging lets them track things across, these tangled global routes. Get instant alerts if there's a delay or a temperature change that could ruin something.
Like sensitive medicines or certain foods.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Or even physical damage. It basically turns a dumb box into an active data reporting thing, giving you this amazing control and visibility. It's crucial for tackling those tricky last-mile delivery problems, too.
Okay. And then there's the bigger picture thing, isn't there? The whole global push to cut down on food waste, make sure products are actually what they say they are. That feels like a powerful driver, both ethically and economically.
And absolutely. It's huge. This push for sustainability and integrity, it's not just talk. It's genuinely pushing companies to invest in these intelligent, functional packaging options. It's about closing that gap, between being eco-friendly and having verifiable safety, which consumers today really care about.
Yeah, they want both.
They do. They don't just want a box you can recycle. They want proof the stuff inside is fresh, it's safe, and maybe even that the packaging itself helped ensure that. It helps chip away at that massive global food waste problem.
But, big changes like this always hit some bumps in the road. It can't all be smooth sailing, can it? What are the main hurdles or challenges holding things back a bit?
You're right, there are definitely challenges. A major one, maybe the biggest, is the high initial cost. Getting these smart technologies integrated isn't cheap. It's not just the sensors or tags themselves. It's the specialized manufacturing, fitting it into existing packaging lines. Sometimes the lack of clear standards adds cost, too.
Right.
So that makes it really tough, particularly for, say, smaller businesses. Or for anyone trying to make these smart features meet all the existing packaging rules without making the final product way too expensive. It's a balancing act.
And with all this data flying around from packages, security must be a massive worry. We're talking potentially sensitive info.
Paramount. Absolutely critical. As smart packaging relies more and more on cloud systems for tracking and uses tech like RFID.
That's the radio wave thing, right? Doesn't need line of sight.
Exactly. And NFC, near-field communication, for tapping your phone, protecting the data, both the consumers and the brands, is just non-negotiable. A security breach isn't just a data leak. It could mess up the whole supply chain, kill brand trust, and in pharma, could have really serious patient safety consequences.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and what about us, the people actually buying the stuff? Are consumers sort of ready for this? Do we get what the smart part actually does for us?
Yeah, that's another key barrier. Just general consumer awareness and maybe how easy it is to use. A lot of people still don't really understand how to interact with it or what the benefit is.
Right, like is that QR code just going to a boring website? Or
Exactly. Or does it show me the whole journey, the temperature history?
Yeah.
If people don't get it or find it fiddly, they won't use it.
Yeah.
And that creates this sort of chicken and egg thing, Manufacturers hesitate to invest heavily if they think consumers won't bother with the features. So adoption slows down.
Okay, that gives us a good sense of the push and pull factors. But now, here's where it gets really interesting. What about the new trends? The opportunities opening up? Where's the cutting edge right now?
Yeah, this is the exciting part. What's really fascinating is how quickly companies are grabbing onto connected packaging. We're talking QR codes, sure, but also embedding NFC chips, making labels interactive right on the product itself.
So it's not just a label, it's a communication device.
Precisely. These aren't just static codes anymore. They turn the package into like a two-way street for information. Imagine tapping your phone on a cereal box and instantly seeing when the grain was harvested, or tracing a medicine's entire cold chain journey just by scanning it.
Wow.
It enables real-time tracking of location, temperature, serious anti-counterfeit checks, even personalized stuff for the consumer like loyalty points or specific tips on how to use the product.
Yeah.
Smart packaging isn't passive anymore. It's becoming proactive, interactive, genuinely intelligent.
And healthcare, you mentioned it earlier, that seems like such a vital area for this, especially with sensitive medicines and equipment.
Oh, absolutely critical. Smart packaging is proving essential in healthcare. It guarantees the safety, the efficacy of drugs that need careful handling. Think about Vaccines needing precise temperature control during shipping.
Yeah, the cold chain.
Exactly.
Right.
Or tamper-evident seals that are absolutely vital for medical products. It helps fight against those dangerous counterfeit drugs, too, which is a massive global problem.
And I keep hearing about eco-friendly packaging everywhere. How does the smart aspect fit with the push for sustainability? Are they compatible?
They increasingly are, which is great news.
Yeah.
There's a lot of R&D investment going into sustainable smart packaging now.
Yeah.
We're starting to see things like biodegradable sensors, smart tags made from recyclable materials, designed to minimize the environmental footprint right from the start.
That's good.
Yeah, it tackles both the environmental worries and what consumers are asking for greener options. It shows you can have high-tech features and be sustainable. They don't have to be opposites. Now, what's fascinating here is, yes, the upfront cost is still a challenge, like we said. It might slow things down in places where cost is super sensitive, but the long-term payoff, reduced waste, smoother logistics, more consumer trust, that's starting to look really compelling for businesses. And plus, there are these huge opportunities coming from demographic shifts, too. Chronic diseases are rising, the population's aging.
Right.
So the demand for safe, traceable pharma packaging is just soaring, often linked to helping people actually take their meds correctly, too. And food and beverage isn't far behind. They're really embracing smart packaging for perishables, not just for freshness checks, but as a cool branding tool, engaging people right when they're about to eat or drink something.
Okay, so pulling this all together, what does it mean for how the world actually handles things, for logistics, for safety? And thinking back, how did something massive like the COVID-19 pandemic hit this emerging field? What's the road ahead look like now?
Well, the pandemic peak in 2020,
Yeah.
that definitely caused major disruptions, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Smart packaging deployment got hit hard. You had logistics nightmares everywhere, labor shortages, lockdowns, stopping engineers from installing new systems.
Right, you couldn't just send teens in factories.
Exactly. And retail slowed down, especially for things like cosmetics, personal care. So demand dropped temporarily in some areas. Even the OEMs, the folks who make the packaging machinery, they struggled to get new smart systems installed because of site access problems and just general supply chain chaos.
So, yeah, a really tough patch. But what about now? The recovery, the outlook, is it bouncing back strongly?
Yep.
And maybe differently.
It absolutely is bouncing back. We're seeing a really robust revival now. And I think it shows just how fundamental the value of smart packaging really is as markets get back on their feet. And maybe even more importantly, as consumers lean even more towards wanting safer, tech-enabled, transparent packaging. The foundation for long-term growth is really solidifying.
So the pandemic might have even accelerated some aspects in a way.
In some ways, yes. You've got stronger food safety rules coming in. People are much more aware of where their products come from. And businesses everywhere have accelerated their digital transformation plans. All that creates an environment where smart packaging isn't really a nice-to-have anymore. It's becoming essential for being resilient, for staying competitive. So to sum it up, smart packaging is really moving beyond just being a tech upgrade. It's becoming indispensable, necessary for future-proofing supply chains globally, for guaranteeing product integrity, and for meeting what we as consumers now expect, whether it's food, medicine, logistics. Smart packaging is right at the forefront of innovation, making things smarter, safer, and way more responsive.
Okay. And for you, our listener, maybe something to think about. As smart packaging changes how we verify safety and quality, and even how we interact with products, how might that fundamentally change our trust in the things we buy every day? And what new expectations might pop up when basically every package could potentially tell you its life story? Interesting times ahead.